This is Selena Yvette, host of Stories from Planet Earth. Thanks for listening to the following show on Public House Media.
Welcome and happy Wednesday. Thank you so much for joining us here at Home with the Mitchells. I'm your host, Eugenia Mitchell. I'm a new mom, military spouse, flight attendant, influencer, and burgeoning entrepreneur. At Home with the Mitchells is a bi-weekly exploration of family, marriage, and the everyday adventure that is entrepreneurship. If you enjoy this episode, please subscribe to your favorite podcast listening platform and join our story. From our family to yours, thank you so much for joining us. And welcome home. Hey guys, happy Wednesday and thank you for coming back home. Today's episode is a little different than most. Usually I'll chit-chat with you guys about one particular topic, but if you could not tell by today's title, I will be answering some questions from a Q&A I did over on our Instagram. Some have been a little kooky, and you'll never guess what the most asked question was. Grab a snack and let's get into it. All right, so question number one. How old were you when you realized that you wanted kids? I'm 28 and still don't think I want kids. Okay, this is an interesting question. So short answer is from, I'd say, about 14 years old. I hope that's not weird. More seriously, I grew up with my 4 sisters, so big family, and I was also constantly surrounded by kids due to my mother running a daycare center. I've always loved the fellowship and just the kind of energy, I guess you could say, surrounding different personalities and all of these stories that come with them. I picked age 14 because that was the age I started my first job as a youth group leader at my mother's daycare facility. I worked as an assist and then a main teacher from babies at 6 weeks of age all the way up to 12-year-olds. So I knew somewhere down the line I would choose to be a mom. I waited a lot longer than my peers to have kids, due mostly to being influenced and surrounded by several teenage mothers, some that I knew by proxy just by going to the same school, high school, and some I knew because they were my close friends at that phase in my life. I saw how it changed their lives dramatically, and I knew me personally, if I was faced with the same task, I would not have fared as well as they did. Throughout my 20s, especially when I became a flight attendant, I subscribed to never settling down or having kids. But I knew that was a short-lived desire because anytime a kid came through the boarding door, my ovaries did a little flip. So I knew it was just a phase in my life where the desire wasn't as strong, but that didn't mean the desire was gone. It's something that's just kind of always been in me. I'm not going to say the name of the person who wrote this question, but the fact that you use the verbiage, I'm 28 and still don't think I want kids, still is fine. Okay, still is fine. I have to stress there is nothing wrong with not wanting kids. I think society has kind of embedded in women, it's a requirement. And it's something that we must aspire to, and anything contrary to that is heartless and cold. There were points in my life, like I said, that I was sure I was just going to be the badass globetrotting auntie, but, as luck would have it, things changed. Question, when did you start your son on solids? The thought of traipsing outside a milk diet is terrifying to me. Okay, before I answer this, I'm assuming that you're talking about a little baby. We decided to incorporate foods with tea at 6 months under the advisement of his pediatrician, of course. And he has been a fan of the whole experience more than I could have imagined. So much so that he is, I think, intrigued by food. He's always looking to see what I'm putting on his plate. And I hope that interest it stays that way for the rest of his life, and that he feeds himself to fuel himself, but also, feeds himself because food freaking tastes good. T has had salmon, scallops, chicken, fried rice, pad thai, omelets, and like just name a whole list of foods. And he remains open to trying those foods. And I think it had a lot to do with the way we went about, introducing him to food at 6 months. So yeah, that's my answer. Question, how did you know your husband was the one? This question got asked a lot. I knew D was the one by the way he looks at the world. His views challenge the way I see things in the best and at times most infuriating ways. He loves his family, and I knew very early on that he wanted a family of his own, which of course resonated with me. And he's pretty cute. It's a cute guy. It's good looking. Yeah. Love you, boo. Question, what made you decide to become a flight attendant, and are you still flying with all of this pandemic madness? I applied to become a flight attendant in 2013 on a whim. Honestly, I cannot stress that enough. Folks ask me this question. They're like, have you always wanted to be a flight attendant? And I'm like, y'all, I was just in the perfect space in life where nothing was holding me down. So I was like, why not? Maybe I watched Catch Me If You Can with Leonardo DiCaprio one too many times. But more seriously, again, I was in a place where I had just left the military. I was at a job that I was good at, but gave me zero fulfillment. And I didn't have anything that was cementing me in one place. I applied October of 2013 and started training in March of the following year. I am still, yes, employed with my airline. However, I opted to take the voluntary unpaid leave of absence that my employer began offering when everything kind of hit the fan. I have several friends, close friends, who are not in the position to take a unpaid leave, and I am thankful every day that my family finds ourselves in the position to do so, and that I have that support from my family. It is it's nuts out there, okay? So please, if you must use air travel during these uncertain times, please be kind to the flight attendants who are still out there working and keeping planes in the sky. Question, any shows you recommend watching? I feel like I finished everything on Netflix, girl. Same, sis, same. Good question. If you're bored of Netflix, you can always hop on over to Amazon Prime. They have really stepped up their game where their original content is concerned. We are currently in the middle of season 3 of the show called Goliath, starring Billy Bob Thornton. It basically follows this once superstar lawyer who now serves the dredges of society. So each season has a really well thought out story about how he tangos with the rich and powerful to save the little guys, the people that get kind of pooped on. It's kind of like a super smart yet alcoholic Robin Hood. It's awesome. So just check it out. Another show I haven't watched yet, but I know will be good, based mainly on the fact that my favorite actress is in it, is Hulu's, but now available on Amazon Prime, Little Fires Everywhere. This show stars my favorite, Kerry Washington and Reese Witherspoon, as two super intense mamas whose worlds collide through their children. One privileged with opportunity and one not so much. Just know that the trailer opens with Reese's house on fire, and that's all I needed to know that this was a must-watch. What has been the most important thing motherhood has taught you? And I have received this question a lot, actually, and I don't know, I haven't really stopped and thought about it to articulate it, but I have for this podcast, and here's my answer. I think the most important thing being a parent has taught me has been the spectrum of feelings that come with it, and just how okay it is to have complex feelings around motherhood. That's short answer, right? So to expound, I feel like so often, especially as mothers, we are exposed to the how amazing is this feeling and we created a whole ass baby euphoria. And then less often are the very, very natural, very, very guilt-laden feelings openly discussed. They're not normalized whatsoever. I can only speak through my personal experience, but to be completely frank, I was spiraling soon after having Titus emotionally. I was not in an okay place. I was so elated to have this new spirit in our lives, but also mourning the life that I once had. I was happy to be breastfeeding my son, but also, dare I say, envious of my husband for the complex amount of proximity that exclusive breastfeeding demanded of me and my new healing body. I was happy to have a healthy, happy baby with fully functioning vocal cords, but I felt pressured to get him on a schedule way before we as a family were really ready. I was thankful for my husband who had a stable job, but frustrated at how quickly for him, on the outside looking in, life went back to normal, while my own was not even my own. These are big, valid feelings that I don't think are discussed enough and candidly. So I say this, if you have a new mama friend and are emotionally able to take this on, be her sounding board, for these very, very natural feelings. Question, what is the best trip you have taken? Thinking about taking a huge vacay when this corona is over. That is a super good idea, and I actually have 2 answers for this question, okay? I have 2. One was pre-marriage and one was after marriage. So pre-marriage, the best trip I took was randomly flying off to Paris with my best friend just for a weekend to go see Beyonce in concert. Like, what is even life? It makes the list because it was planned within 2 days. We literally left the next morning and we're back home in Atlanta for dinner. And obviously, you can tell this is when I operated off of 0 sleep, but it was definitely worth it. My second answer to this question is my after marriage trip. So after marriage, I would say my favorite trip was sunning in Tenerife, Spain with my sweet family. It was, I think, 4 days of sunny and 80 degrees, amazing food and drinks, just beautiful scenery, and in-house nanny service, spa getaways. It was, I cannot wait to go back. It was a trip of a lifetime. If I never take another vacation, I will always have the remembrance of the trip to Tenerife. That's how good it was. It was really good. D planned that one, and he just, 5 stars. If you do go to Tenerife, you have to stay at the Royal Hideaway Resort. It's a very new resort. We stayed there within its first year of opening. It's essentially 2 resorts, one dedicated for families and one that's completely closed off and for adults only, like no babies, no kids, no teen, no, just adults. So it's nice to have that contrast in the event we want to go back, just the 2 of us. It is probably the most well thought out property I have ever been, and I've been to a lot of places. So yeah, definitely put that on your list. Question, and this is the final question, and yes, it is the most asked. Here it is. Sorry if this is TMI and you don't have to answer, but will you and your hubby be adding more kiddos to the bunch? Again, most asked question, y'all. Get about my ovaries. But short answer is yes. Yes, we definitely want to have another child, God willing, God first. I can understand my position as being a online personality to lead you to ask that, and I am in 0 way offended. Just have to say that. But I also have to say, becoming a mama and engaging with military moms and even civilian moms, I've had the amazing opportunity to speak with women who have had different experiences from me. Experiences that include infant loss and miscarriages. These exchanges have kind of painted the way I move forward in even touching on the are you having any more kids or are you having any kids discussion. And I know, it seems, and 99% of the time it is a very, very, very innocent question, which I know this question was very innocent. But it can also be a painful and personal one for some. Miscarriages and infant loss is unfortunately very, very common and maybe the reason why some folks do not wish to discuss family planning. I say that not to be like mean or a butthole, but if this small little portion of my podcast helps to paint someone's discretion in blurting out that question moving forward, then my job is done. Okay? I just want you to win in life and in social graces, and this is that. So, yeah. The more you know. This formatting was so cool. I really like this Q&A. This was dope. So I think I'm going to do another one, maybe for next month. But should we do like a Q&A monthly? Like, let me know. Do you guys like this or what? Anyways, if you've made it to minute 14, 15, thank you so much for joining us here at Home with the Mitchells. Please follow us on Instagram at Home with the Mitchells. Same on Facebook. If you have any questions or want to collaborate, please feel free to email me at collab@homewiththemitchells.net. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please be kind to one another.